You know exactly what you should be doing to achieve your goal, but somehow you don't get yourself to do it consistently. Maybe you want to get fit, but after work you end up on the couch with Netflix and pizza. Maybe you want to write your book or work on your business or finally sort out this project that you've been talking about for month and month. But despite knowing what you need to do, you keep on doing this other thing instead. And if you are ambitious and an otherwise capable person, this is really frustrating because you start thinking, gosh, I know better. I'm not stupid. So why on earth am I still doing this? And I know because I've been doing this and I know how painful it is. So in this video, we're going to look at the science behind exactly that. Why knowing what to do is often not enough to actually make us do it, and how stress, overload, and existing behavioral patterns and the messy reality of our normal life get in between our intention and action. And then we'll do a deceptively simple but powerful pen and paper exercise that I use myself and also with my clients to interrupt that moment before you do the thing you already know that you're going to regret later. Hi, my name is Gwen Bach. I have a master's degree in applied neuroscience. And for the past 3 years, I've been trying to build an online business with not that much success so far. And taking menopause hormones had me gain 10 kilos of weight, which have not yet shifted. And recently I got a job offer at just slightly above German minimum wage. So I know how painful this gap between what you believe you're capable of and what your current circumstances, your current reality looks like. And I really know that pain. So why do we know what to do and still not do it? In behavioral science, there is something called the intention behavior gap. Sheeran and Webb in 2016, and lots of similar research shows that intention matters. Obviously, people who intend to do something are more likely to do it than people who don't. Seems really obvious, right? But intention alone is a very imperfect predictor of what we actually end up doing. And I think we all have experienced this. We all have been taught to think, if I really wanted it, I would do it. Or maybe I need to find my bigger why, my personal pet peeve. Finding a bigger why, and you believe that you will automatically be motivated and finally be more disciplined, and all of that BS stuff. But let's think about what happens in real life, which is messy and unpredictable and often chaotic, at least mine is. Let's say Sunday evening, and I love to do that. You decide that from tomorrow on, after work, you're going to the gym. And you mean it. Your trousers are getting tight and your energy is low and you really want to get fitter. Or maybe you've even taken your gym bag and you put it next to the front door so you'll fall over it. And you thought, yes, tomorrow I'm going to start this. And then Monday happens. So you work all day, you answer emails, you have to make decisions, you get interrupted when you finally manage to focus. And maybe meetings go on and annoying stuff, really annoying stuff happens. And you don't have time to eat properly. And now it's 6 o'clock in the evening and you're hungry, you're tired, you have your phone right next to you. And the sofa suddenly looks way more comfy and snuggly than before. And of course, now there are great reasons why today might not be the best day for me to start my new exercise. Maybe your back feels a bit funny. The gym is probably super crowded and you've had a stressful day and you deserve a break and pizza. You will definitely, you promise yourself you will go tomorrow. You know exactly what I mean. The important point is that the intention you formed on Sunday now has to survive a completely different set of conditions on Monday. So carrying out an intention requires more than remembering or having a why you want to do it. You have to keep the goal active. You need to work out what you need to do next, and you need to ignore the way more easier competing response and adjust when circumstances are not quite what you planned them to be. Plus, we live again in this brave new world. Brown et al. In 2020 found that acute stress can disrupt flexible behavior and brain systems involved in planning ahead, which becomes quite relevant when you think about the amount of stress and cognitive noise many of us are dealing with on a daily basis. And by the way, if your main problem is that there's just simply too much going on in your head, and I know that's for me, I've created a free 7-minute load and control protocol. Now that sounds fancy, but what it does, it helps you to get the mental load onto paper, filter what is actually in your control, and then choose the one next small action you can take. And I've put the link in the description below. Also, if you're interested in going deeper into the subject of this video, I have a more in-depth blog post on this topic with the full research and all the references, so you can just click the reference links if you want to read them. And so if you're a bit of a science nerd and want to go deeper, I'll also link that in the description below. Okay, now stress and overload are only part of this whole big thing, because the thing you do instead, also you have a history together, like a bad relationship. If coming home tired usually means sitting on the sofa and ordering pizza, you have practiced that behavior in that situation over and over again. So, and also if you get stuck on a difficult work task and normally open your inbox or grab your phone and read the news, that's me, that response is already well practiced and familiar. And when one behavior is familiar and immediately available and easy, while the thing you actually want to do requires planning, effort, and several maybe even complicated steps, the familiar behavior has a very obvious advantage, right? So think about the gym in my example. Going to the gym for me means I need to change clothes. I need to leave the house. I need to drive there. Maybe there's traffic. I need to find parking, exercising, coming back, taking a shower, and then cooking dinner. The sofa, on the other hand, requires me to sit down and order pizza from my phone with 2 clicks. Not exactly a fair fight, right? Now, the very simplified version is that stress switches the brain into automatic mode. But you probably know by now, research is always way more nuanced than that. The useful bit, however, for us is that existing behavior already is easier to access. And if the alternative requires more thinking, planning, and effort at exactly the moment when you are already tired and overwhelmed, then we take the easier and well-practiced choice, if we're not careful. So, knowing what to do and still not doing it is actually not that mysterious after all. Knowing gives you the intention, but that intention still has to survive contact with your mental state, your existing behavior, and the conditions of our chronically stressful modern life. And once you look at it that way, you can stop asking, how do I get a bigger why? Which will not really help that much. But we can ask, what happens between deciding to do this and the moment I actually have to do the thing? Now, let's do the exercise I mentioned earlier. Take a pen and a paper, and before you do the thing that you usually regret afterwards, say Netflix, chocolate, scrolling, opening your inbox, and instead of the document or your book or whatever your thing is you're working on, you answer 5 questions. And the key here is you're still allowed to do the thing afterwards. So you do not, and I repeat, you do not have to forbid yourself the chocolate. And you do not tell yourself that you're absolutely not ever allowed to watch Netflix again. No, we don't go there. You just have to write for 2 or 3 minutes first. The first question is, what do I feel like doing right now? Take our Netflix and pizza example. So what do I feel like doing? Order pizza and watch Netflix. Second question, what would be the better choice that actually moves me in the direction I want to go? So going to the gym for even a short workout would be a much, much better choice. Then ask yourself again, what do I really feel like doing right now? And if you think about it, and sometimes that happens, it might be Netflix, but sometimes just starting the process and thinking about this might sway you towards the gym already. Often the first and the third answer are about the same for me. I still want the chocolate or scroll the news or watch my favorite TV show, but that's okay, no judgment. Now, the last 2 questions are the ones that changed a lot for me. If I look back from tomorrow, what would I have wanted myself to decide right now? So tomorrow, I would have wanted myself to skip the pizza and exercise instead, right? And then the last question. If I look back from a month from now, what would I have wanted myself to decide in this moment? And obviously, I would have wanted myself to go to the gym and get fit versus repeating the pizza pattern over and over again. Take 2 minutes and actually answer these questions. It makes such a difference. Normally, the current version of you gets to make the decisions, but the future version of you gets all the not so nice consequences. We basically keep dumping the cost onto our future self. And those last 2 questions allow that future version of you to have a voice just for a moment. And you're still allowed to eat the chocolate afterwards if you'd really, really want to. The point, again, is not forbidding yourself anything. You just slip in this small, tiny in-between step between the automatic and the deliberate choice. And mostly it is enough for me to make the smarter choice. So, in this video, we looked at the intention-behavior gap. Why knowing what to do is not the same thing as actually doing it, and why stress, overload, and existing behavior and our ordinary modern life can make that gap bigger, and why interrupting that moment between intention and action can be more useful than simply trying to crank up motivation and discipline. And your tool is the 5-question exercise. Now, 5 sounds a lot, but it's not. Before you do the thing you usually regret, write down what you feel like doing, what the better choice would be, what you still really feel like doing, and then ask what tomorrow you and 1 month from you today you would have wanted you to decide right now. Try it with one behavior for just a few days and see what happens. And please don't turn this into another huge self-improvement, I'll be a different person by tomorrow type of thing. One tiny behavior is enough, really. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next